This video is on a frequently asked question and discussion I see come up all the time. It's on whether or not you should tape the blade if you're learning to flip for the first time or if you're learning a new move. Now, there are several opinions on the matter. Some people think that taping is something that's going to develop sloppy technique, something that's not going to help progress your flipping, because flipping a non-live blade will not closely replicate the level of risk in flipping a live blade. So your whole mentality is kind of changed, and therefore you won't pay as much attention. You'll kind of let mistakes and imperfect techniques slide because you don't have the fear of being cut. The other side of the argument is that if you tape, you'll be able to go a little bit beyond your comfort zone because you don't have that fear, and because you don't have that restriction, you'll be able to learn at a faster pace, because without the tape you might be too scared to try new things. So I'll kind of go over what I personally think, and I'll kind of go over the pros and the cons of taping and not taping, or using a trainer to learn rather than a live blade. If you're first starting out with a balisong, I wouldn't necessarily say to start off with a trainer or live blade. I myself start off with a live blade. This was the first balisong I ever purchased, a Bradley Kamara 1, and this is what I learned off of. And for me, there was definitely a ton of hesitation at first when I was learning moves. I mean, even for something as simple as a thumb rollover or just twirling, I was very hesitant. I exercise a lot of caution when flipping, because this thing comes razor sharp out of the box. So it's intimidating. It certainly is. And my learning curve is probably a lot slower than some of the newer guys I see come on the forums. They get better. It just seems like the newer flippers get better at a much faster rate than I've ever really witnessed. So yeah, my learning curve was slow, and the reason for that is because I got cut a lot when I was learning, a lot, and pretty badly in some cases. But eventually what that does is it gives you the confidence to execute a move, because once you do it with a live blade and you overcome that fear of becoming cut, it really boosts up your confidence to explore other moves, more advanced moves, perhaps aerials, things of that nature. That's what happened with me. I started with this. I was pretty much scared to death of it at first, got cut a lot, and just kept getting cut to the point where you almost get used to it, and then you kind of push yourself from there. I would say the plus side is I gained a lot of confidence. You know, you get cut, you overcome it, you know, you fall and you just get back up. And confidence is a huge part of flipping. It really is. So that's a good thing. It developed my confidence, and I overcame my fear. The negative part was that it probably took me, I mean, it's kind of hard to put an exact number on it because everyone's different, but I would say had I been using a trainer, or had I taped the blade and I learned the same move, I probably would have gotten that move down maybe in less than half the time than with a live blade. Because with a live blade, you know, as soon as something goes a little bit wrong, I'll just bail on it, or I'll just do it extremely slow. I'll exercise so much caution that, you know, the move just takes a little bit longer to perfect. So that was kind of the negative. It took much longer to learn the move because I had to build up the confidence first before I could execute the move. But once I got that, then the move was executed very cleanly without the fear of being cut. So that was my approach, and that's kind of what I found to be the good side and the bad side of starting with a live blade. Now, if you do start with a trainer, or if you do tape your blade, I do think you will learn faster, just because you don't have to worry about getting cut. So that confidence curve is kind of just out of the picture, because you know you're not going to get cut. There is no confidence curve. The only thing that you have to face is the learning curve. So that's good in the sense that you kind of cut down on the amount of time it takes to execute the move because you don't have that fear of getting cut. The downside is once you switch over to a live blade, it's almost like learning again, because I guarantee you, as soon as you go from something blunt or taped to something as sharp as, say, a Kimura, that could pretty much leave you in stitches, the whole mentality of flipping changes. And as soon as you go to execute that aerial or that rollover or whatever combo you were going to practice, it's a completely different ballgame. You could execute it 100%, 100 times in a row on a trainer or a tape blade, and as soon as you pick up that live blade, I guarantee you it's going to be an extremely different experience. There's going to be hesitation, and the reason for that is because you got over the learning curve, but you didn't get over the confidence curve. So those are the two things you have to overcome and excel at to progress in flipping. It's the technical skill, the technical aspect, and then it's also the confidence aspect of getting over your fear of being cut and having confidence in your skills, so you know that your chances of getting cut are lower. So you have to kind of weigh between those two pros and cons to decide what's best for you. There really isn't a right or wrong. I know very proficient flippers who flipped with a trainer. They still use a trainer. If they want to nail a harder aerial or some kind of combo, and they just want to get the feel, they start off with the trainer, then they move on to the live blade. I know several examples of flippers who do that. Then I know flippers such as myself who start on a live blade and that's all they use. I will kind of give you a brief story. When I got this prototype of the B200 trainer, I flipped this exclusively for about a week. And this was the first time that I ever flipped a trainer. I never owned a trainer. I never taped before that. So I flipped for this for a week, and then I switched back to a live blade. And I noticed that I hesitated more, and my technique was just, I wouldn't say, it's not so much that it's sloppy, but you do things that you realize you're doing things without as much consciousness, without as much thought. So it does play into your psyche. If you're a person who starts off with the trainer, you might want to just kind of, this is just my personal advice. I'm not really sure how it would work, but I know me going forward, if I'm doing stuff with the trainer from now on, I'd still mix in with the live blade, just so I can kind of keep that confidence level up. That's kind of how the people I know who do use a trainer in conjunction with the live blade, that's how they work. They get a feel for it on the live, but then they're still flipping. They get a feel for it on the trainer or a tape blade, but they're still flipping a live blade in conjunction with that to keep their overall confidence level up. Okay, so that's my opinion on the matter. There really isn't necessarily a right or wrong. It just depends on the way you learn and the way you want to learn. That's really what it comes down to. Another thing I just want to add is, people, they kind of talk about what is the safer option. Obviously, if you tape the blade or if you use a trainer, it's obviously safer than a live blade. That's not really what I mean. What I mean is that flipping and safety, you just can't put those two in the same mix. Flipping is inherently dangerous. You will get cut. You will get cut pretty bad. That's just part of the game. I try to catch myself. I never try to say, be safe or flip safer. You're playing with a live razor sharp blade. There's absolutely nothing safe about that. There never will be anything safe about that. So, just keep that in mind when you guys are flipping. You're taking on the responsibility and you're taking on that risk, and you have to be aware of the consequences of getting into this particular game. So I won't end off saying be safe, because you really can't be safe when you're flipping. But I hope that kind of helps clarify the matter. Leave comments on and tell me what you guys do. Do you tape? Did you learn taping? Or do you still kind of use a trainer or tape and kind of mix with the live blade? Or did you always just flip using a live blade? Let me know. I think it's an interesting point of discussion. I think people who are getting into the hobby should kind of know both sides of it. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.